we did an interesting experiment, and you may want to see the results of it. We posted a whole bunch of carabiners opening magically, and we got a whole array of emotions, feelings, funny comments, and angry ones. And it was an interesting social experiment that we will dive into, and what gear fear causes in people. I also think we figured out how we're going to finally do the knot series, where we break knots and actually add a unique value to the channel and not just copycat other knot tutorial videos. And before I get into that, I do want to put out in the universe that I would like to have a diverter in the slow pull machine so we can wrap the rope around and get full strength in our slow puller. Kind of like the UIAA does to brake test their ropes and get standards. I would like to test things in more than just figure eights. That way I can test the true strength of a rope while being able to compare it to the knots that we will end up doing. So that kind of does tie into the how not with a K, how not to series. I also am super curious, now that we're drop testing things, with an 80 kilogram weight, a rope will break at a 1.8 factor fall. When there's 1.8 times more rope than fall, it'll break around 7 times. I'm curious about how many falls you can do if you're only doing a factor 1 with the exact same scenario. Now, in order to eliminate almost all the variables, I need a drop tower, a real one. So if anybody has a hookup or connection that watches this channel with either Black Diamond or Petzl or Sterling or anybody that has a tower in which they drop test these things, I would love to fly there and go visit on a weekend or something they're not using it and just drop ropes for 12 hours to see what happens when you only drop it with a 0.5 fall factor. I don't even know if it's going to break. So throwing that out in the universe. Let's get started. So I was hanging out at Brent Roth's house where we are making a canyon course, and it's going to go over all the rope systems in a canyon. It's pretty thorough. It's amazing. It's going to be free. And while we do this awesome resource, we decided to squirrel and do a carabiner magic trick, where if you put the carabiner gate against the rope just right and jerk it around just right, it'll come off. And the first video was just kind of funny. I was like, oh, that's a really cool trick. Let me post that and see what people say. Well, it ended up turning into a social experiment, not a carabiner experiment. And we got all sorts of comments. We just kept posting them. People would ask us to do different carabiners, like, oh, you can't get a triple locker, and then we do a triple locker. We did the Gravel double gate. We didn't do 2 wire gate, the double wire gate carabiners, because, well, technically that it wouldn't work. People wanted the quad locker, so we finally got a quad locker and we did that one too. Opposing wire gates, we did that. And then we were trying to be funny and put all the carabiners together on the anchor at the same time and tried to be funny and just pulled the rope through, just to show that even if it doesn't come out of the gate, a rope can still come through if you don't tie a knot in the end of it. I don't even know if a knot in the end of that would have helped, but we got an array of emotions stirred up, and that is the most interesting part to me, as the slogan of our channel is to break gear fear. And I'd say 90% of people thought it was funny, and we're going to start with the funny comments because they're pretty clever. A magical anchor grinder can appear at any time to chop the anchor. Be afraid. You do it easier than me normally opening them. I felt that to be true. Sometimes the quad or triple lockers are really hard to open, but magically, Brent could do it. Ha ha ha, I hate when my rope wraps around the pinch point of a magneto and opens it. I hope you're proud of yourself. The Petzl Technical Bulletin team will be chained to the desk for the next 2 weeks. From now on, I will only trust beaners that I super glue shut. I missed multiple critical game moments due to these posts, and I don't regret it for 1 minute. We posted it during the Super Bowl. Today's feed is 1,000 times better than the Super Bowl. Lol. Now, one request we got for a carabiner that we couldn't get our hands on was a Ronda, an HMS Ronda carabiner. Then Alpine Savvy asked that, and so did actually a lot of people. We didn't have access to one. In fact, I've never even heard of that thing until I think 2 days before I even put this video out. So it's ironic that I've heard of it now, where the locking mechanism is a little inset. Now, if I did have one, I would have just pushed it up against the hanger while doing the same tricks, and it would have come out ridiculously easy because there are no rules to how we can do this. You just let the rope come out. And that actually confused a lot of people, and a lot of people didn't know whether or not to take it as a joke, which it was essentially a joke. It was us having fun. And some comments were, in what situation would that ever happen? So basically we need a triple action auto lock with the first action being a slide down instead of up. Or please stop making me fear my life more when I'm basically climbing. Wait, yeah, I'm actually curious. Is there any gear that you approve of? At this point, you've basically destroyed every trust relationship I have with my gear. Is there a point to any of this? Well, most things we break in this channel are the ways you're not supposed to use it, hence how not to. So I didn't think this was really off-brand by that much. The original Dane said, I've always defended Ryan, but this is very exaggerated. All these videos are. Is he really busting gear fear anymore or inspiring it? Of course these carabiners are still safe, but if you manipulate ropes enough, they basically function like hands and fingers, and of course you'll be able to unclip them. Yeah, pretty much that's the point. Nothing's impervious to coming undone and open. I'm not trying to create gear fear, I'm trying to create gear respect. And I think that's what we're trying to do with any times we break gear. This was just a cool magic trick we just kept posting. There wasn't a lot of thought put into it other than it was just invoking a lot of reactions out of people. Crazy. Great demonstration of why the AMGA says a locker with a backup is the bare bones minimum for an anchor. Let's listen to our mountain guiding organization, guys. Stay safe out there. I just think that was taken a little bit too far. There's a lot of us that have rappelled off of single wire gate non-locking carabiners as we bail. Most whips that you do, if that piece doesn't hold you, you'll deck. And that's a non-locking wire gate quick draw. So we don't just have bulletproof wrench down quick links every time we go climbing. It's just nice to be aware that this stuff happens. I wonder what kind of fall would even cause that? Not even in the circus. Well, there's a lot of actual situations I started to think of after people said that would never happen. I've been on traverse lines. Caving has traverse lines. Canyoning has traverse lines. Sometimes there's big anchors on a high line where you're just clipping a personal anchor to it and you slide across the thing. And if you go under it a little bit and then you come back and you're twerking around or whatever, twerking's a word, by the way, yeah, your rope could wrap around it. What actually concerned me is when people actually said it happened to them. Trevor Vell tagged somebody and said this happened to Ryan Velinga once. And a tree by any other name said, I've had a couple times where a double locking triple action like shown has caught on aggressive bark and twisted the gate with it starting to push, but I noticed it both times thankfully. So I mean, there are situations this can happen, but it's very, very unlikely and it's not meant to create gear fear, it's meant to create gear respect. Now some people that really summed it up good was Mike Van Sickle, implausible, sure. Impossible, no. Super good enough, 99.999% of the time. Yep. The more of these I see, the less worried I am about it happening. The magnetron. That was really hard to open, by the way. I also thought this was a great comment. These are awesome. Proves that no gear is bomber on its own without proper experience, placement, and technique. The more we know about it fails, the more you can do to prevent it from failing. Boom, I like that. And then of course, we always have the fun police. This is actually severely moronic. Show me this happening in real life scenario. Can we please come up with better stuff than this? Did you decide to turn to the dark side so soon after you addressed the trolls? Really? Can you please stop? This is going too far. Can't trust anything anymore. That's really not what the goal was. You guys are evil. That was random. And Y Rodeo said, stop making garbage for views and engagement. What is this lame-ass test meant to show? Well, watch this video and you'll find out. Now we tease super good enough all the time on this channel, but I mean, things do fail, things can fail. But it just shows you how hard we took like 20 takes before we could finally get it to just open easily. Now, other social media platforms will post even accidents per se, or near misses, and try to scare you, and then give you an article about how to do it better. That's a very intentionally trying to create gear fear in order to use it as a teaching lesson. I wasn't trying to create gear fear. I was just impressed Brent could do all these things. And gear fear is created when we hyper-focus on a very small percentage chance of something happening, for example, an accident, and compile them together. You read all of those like that, all the people that have died in Yosemite book that's like this thick. You think everybody that walks into Yosemite is going to die at this point. I think it's called a confirmation bias if you just focus on one thing for a while. Now on this channel, we do go through a ton of work to break gear fear. And I think posting a few things on Instagram, especially when I'm not trying to be obnoxious, It is my YouTube given right to do so. Sorry. And if you would like to see something interesting, is read the comments on this post right here that I am going to post the second I post this video. People will see that video before they see this one. You can just go and read the comments and see all these reactions happening live. People claimed we were just using the rope. Well, I made it a more real life scenario. You can twist around on those things. You can push against the gate. Is it likely to happen? Not really. You're more likely to forget to clip in before you start climbing than one of those failing on you. So chillax and check out this knot thing I want to run by you. Now, before we get into the knots, let me share to you about the swag. Swag, oh my God, I just hit puberty. People had questions on, oh, I wish you had it in sweatshirts. I wish you had long sleeve shirts. I wish you had women's shirts. I wish you shipped to UK. The website is difficult to explain this, so I'm just gonna say it. Anything you can imagine, he can make for you. It can be different types of hats, different types of shirts. We are actually working on getting OR, outdoor research, shirts, like high quality shirts. You can get long sleeve sweatshirts, anything. He can print any of these images we have for you on your underwear if you want. So if you don't see something you want, email Hapa Design, the place that prints all of these designs. We have lots of images. We're trying to come out with one every few weeks, ideally related to the episode that comes out. We also have free stickers that we give to you if you buy something on Extreme Gear with these same images. I'm trying to mix and match our little tiny ecosystem we're creating here to give you value. Now, I was grateful most people understood that I was plugging and that I need to plug. These videos, I'm spending literally 40 to 60 hours per video to put these things out super nice, to get the quality better. Now that I stopped painting, I can do that. They're free to you, but they're not free to make. So I literally got an email today being offered a sponsorship by Skillshare, where I give one of those 60-second annoying scripted ads in the middle of a video that's just completely off topic and unrelated. Whereas I could just, in a video, go, buyfromextremegear.org, supports us 10%, but I feel like that just connects better. I do not spend all of my time on these videos so I can get some money from extremegear.org. I try to get some money from extremegear.org so I can make this content. I think this is super useful for people, and it's, for me, content first. I just need to have money to do it. If I spent this much energy on literally anything else, I'd be making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I was making good money painting. I'll leave it at that. But I believe in this. This has way more meaning to me. The people I meet, the community I get to be with, it's amazing. It's why I do it. I don't do it for the money. But if you can see what I did in the last 5 years, basically with donations, could you imagine what I could do with money? Some of the ideas that John Fioroni and I have is to try to maybe sell things at a loss to some countries that have import tax issues. And he really has a heart for the Middle East because he does caving there. By the way, all your profit goes to either his Caving Exploration Society or my How Not To, so we can do what we're doing more. This is not, there's no corporation here other than just that's how you run the business. And the other thing is we want to help small products get a foot in the door. I have distribution, he has a store, and this way people who have good ideas have a place they can get their foot in the door. I don't know, it's just like, we can do that for the smaller guy. And I'm also getting to pretend to be the Groupon of climbing, or Oprah's, you get a pro deal, you get a pro deal. And these flash sales are trying to do is stuff on the gear that you want, not the gear that we couldn't sell. Huge difference there. And we basically are making no money at this point giving away these flash sales because we want you guys to know Extreme Gear exists, to build this relationship with us. But it's actually really hard to explain to you how much you get off for how long on what product, when I could just say, head over to Extreme Gear, 10% of what you buy there supports this channel. Let's talk about this other thing. I could plug super fast. I can be like, hownottoswag.com. I'll put you at the end of the video if you hashtag hownottoswag when you buy the shirt. Like, that's pretty fast. But if I want to plug like the community aspect of what we're doing, that takes time. Just like it took time in this video to explain that. Now let me tell you about the knots. Now we'll talk about that. I want to dive right into how to tie knots. No intro, no hi, I'm Ryan Jinks. Just tie the knot over the shoulder, several different ways, fast, quick, no more than 10 to 30 seconds depending on the knot, and show you how not to do it so you don't get confused. That helps me when I learn knots. Then the next thing I want to do is pull test it in the same rope for all the videos. 10mm static rope, I've got a lot of it. It's a nice size, too small, too big, it kind of gets convoluted. One rope. And then I want to do a slippery test, and that is with Dyneema. Now you're not supposed to tie knots in Dyneema, but if the tail is short in certain types of knots, it'll show whether or not you need a long tail. I don't want that to get lost on people that you're not supposed to tie knots in 12 braid Dyneema, but it's like the most slippery thing I can think of, and it would demonstrate how the knot can fail if it's going to unravel. I also want to pull test a knot to 4 kilonewtons and then see how easy it is to untie. Bowlines are easier to untie than 8s. It'd be nice to know that. Not sure if we're going to have like little icons of hand, teeth, hammer, or knife in order to scale, have a scale on how to do this, but whatever. But here's the value. You can go to anywhere else and learn how to tie a knot. I would like to cross-pollinate these sports. That's the goal of this channel. I'm actually pushing episodes out that would just be like easy to post, but I want to actually have other people contribute their thoughts from these other disciplines. And I think that in knots would be super helpful. So I could have an arborist explain where they use bowlines. I could have a sprat person or a SAR person or a climber or cavers when and where they would use this knot. Pretty short. I don't want anybody to get too long-winded. We all know that I talk too much. And if you saw an arborist talk about something for 2 to 3 minutes, and we had even 5 different people that could add value to why a Zeppelin exists. Show me a Zeppelin, cool, I could learn how to tie that. Who the hell uses it? Where is it best used? I want to know. I've actually learned more about climbing when I went caving and canyoning, because it just comes to the same gear with completely different context. So I think that would add a lot of value because we have this community of people from all these different disciplines all geeking out with me on breaking gear fear. Tell me what you think in the Discord section, also the comments of this video if you want. But there is a knot section, K-N-O-T, on our Discord. And I'm going to engage heavily in that for the next couple days after I post this to get your guys' feedback. Once I create the format to start doing these knots, I'm going to batch film these, probably 10 at a time, put a ton of work after we film it, get everybody's input, and then put these out. There's a lot of opinions when it comes to knots. You tied it wrong, you didn't do this right, this should have been done, and I want to do it right. Yeah, I know the 1% trolls will be trolls. I don't care. I just don't want 10% trolls because I sucked. I only want trolls because there's naturally assholes on this earth. So there's a difference. Yeah, so I'm trying to do a really good job for you guys. Please go to Discord and tell me how to do that. Now, if you made it 20 minutes into a video like this, please tell me in the comments below so I know that these are worth making. I'm not quite sure how to do updates. I would prefer 3 days a week to post on this channel, high quality value content because I don't lack content. And maybe I can morph this into my email list, which you can get on at hownoto.com. I won't spam you. It'll only be the videos we either have just posted so you don't depend on the YouTube algorithm in order to tell you a video's out so you don't miss these flash sales. Almost every sale we have is only for one day. We still do have Trangos, by the way, on Extreme Gear that are 10% off. So you're gonna buy a bunch of carabiners. We got a discontinued color. That sale, we actually do get to have some money afterwards. All the other sales, we literally don't make a profit on. I look forward to you guys' comments. Critiquing is not trolling. I do find them to be helpful in moving us forward. Just don't be an asshole. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.